Dear 2020, every new year we tell ourselves the same story. Next year it's going to be my year. Next year will be better. This coming year is going to be ours. 2020 has been an unprecedented time in recent history. Everything from the way the world operated to our daily lives has changed drastically. Just 1 month into 2020, and we already saw a potential world war, a whole country burning to ashes, the coronavirus outbreak in China, and the passing of a legend. That was only the start. At this point, we all thought, well, it can't get any worse than that. But by February, some countries began to talk about some virus, a virus that many people believed was just another cold. But in March, we saw that this virus would not just come to change us, but change the world.
By March 13th, almost every country went on full lockdown to control the spread of the virus. People got stuck in countries that they just went to for a visit. Others got stuck in transit in airports and borders without an explanation of what was happening, but they didn't know that it would get worse.
By April 7th, we had 1,363,365 confirmed cases and 76,420 deaths worldwide.
By the coming month, global economies went down. We have empty classrooms, empty streets, empty stadiums, and hospitals in full capacity.
We did what we could. We listened. We took action. We wore masks and we kept distance from those that we loved. We connected with our families and tried to support each other through it all. But soon enough, we would need to bring our support against injustice.
By May 25th, George Floyd was killed. There were protests throughout the U.S., through countries across the world. Even with COVID, people took to the streets and used their voices to say, "This is enough," to say, "This is enough" to the countries where racism still prevailed, to say, "This is enough" to the governments that turned their backs on the people in silence while people cried for justice, to say, "This is enough" to the system that has failed our people.
It also showed how powerful we can be when we stand together, putting all of our differences aside. More than 10,000 protests were held throughout the world in which people of different colors and backgrounds stood together in solidarity for the movement.
So we used our voice to educate our circles, took action to help others realize what has been happening is not normal, that the deaths of these people would not be forgotten. Because George Floyd wasn't the first, but we want to set an example so that he can be the last, so that we can live in a world where your skin tone doesn't define who you are. Dear 2020, you managed to stop our own dreams, families, celebrations, and milestones.
This was also the year that some of us graduated, and even though we didn't have a big celebration, we took a graduation picture in our living room, and we celebrated with our family. We celebrated online. We had virtual weddings. We did all of this to remember that our lives are still worth celebrating this year.
We had to learn how to survive in this new world. In this new world that if you get too close to someone, you could possibly die. So we used technology to bring us together, to bring our friends and family together so we could smile again. 2020 has shown us that we can party even if we aren't physically together. It shows us that it is never too late to learn a new skill, to build ourselves, and to give love to those around us and our communities. We also celebrated democracy and went out and voted to bring back high hopes for our political future and times when we couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
It's shown us who the real heroes are. Those that didn't stop working. Those that took the time to get their kids to stay learning to shape a better future.
Those that kept teaching from their empty classrooms. Those that kept putting out fires. Those doctors, those nurses, and other healthcare workers demonstrate unprecedented levels of courage, compassion, and selflessness. COVID-19 proved to be the biggest health crisis of recent history, and in these challenging times, our healthcare workers were battling in the front lines. We often praise fictional superheroes, but these people were in fact the real-life superheroes, and we should be so thankful to them. They have raised the spirits of the people around them. They have been saving lives left and right and caring for patients, and they have been the ones looking for the vaccine so that we can get out of this mess.
Many of us were forced to stop and think about who we are and who we want to be when this is all over. We stopped to strip ourselves from the hectic everyday life that doesn't let us connect with ourselves. We became aware of the things we needed instead of the things we were taught to want.
2020 may have brought many challenges to our lives, but one thing is for sure. If we stand together with unity, we can face any challenge and emerge stronger from it.
Now it is up to you, up to us, to create a better future. We did the hardest part. We took that jump and we survived 2020. And now we need to take those brave baby steps and try to become whole again. Try to find purpose in our lives. And most of all, let's try to smile again.